What's up, everybody? Hope you're all having a good day. Trying out a new type of video today, calling this the hammock talk. And what I want to do here is just answer some of the common questions that I hear being asked all the time about Costa Rica, life in Costa Rica, all that kind of stuff. So for today's question, I want to answer, can I work in Costa Rica? Can I get a job in Costa Rica? So there's only a few ways to work legally in Costa Rica as a foreigner, and it's pretty restrictive. So it's hard for an American or an expat from another country to get a job working here legally in Costa Rica. You do see people like in Tamarindo, for example, in the service industry working illegally. It happens quite often, but in order to legally work in Costa Rica, it's very strict. So there's a few rules. One way you can do it is if you get permanent residency. This is the first way you can legally work, permanent residency or citizenship, but those are both pretty hard to get. I have friends that are in the process of trying to get residency, and it can take usually over a year, sometimes 2-3 years in order to get residency in Costa Rica. There's a few different ways and statuses you can apply for residency, but I'll leave that for another video. So the next way to legally work in Costa Rica is to get a work permit. Now, for businesses here in Costa Rica to get a work permit, it's very expensive for the business to do so, and also legally the work permits should only be for positions that cannot be done by a tico, by a Costa Rican citizen. So if you think, most jobs out there can be done by citizens, and Costa Rica wants to protect its workers as it should, so they say any job that can be done by a tico, you cannot hire a foreigner, you cannot issue a work permit for that position. So it's hard to get a work permit too. Some people come down and just say, hey, I'm gonna open my own business, I'll just work there. Now you can't even do this. So as an expat, you can come down to Costa Rica and open your own business, but you cannot work at your own business, which I know sounds kind of weird, but the way it works is you can open a business. Let's take a restaurant, for example. You open a restaurant, but you're not allowed to work in that restaurant. So if I'm a small business owner, I might have a restaurant or like a smoothie shop or anything like that. I could oversee the operations, but I couldn't take a salary. I couldn't be in there, managing the restaurant or anything like that. So it was surprising to me to hear this. If you want to be a small business owner, you have to hire people to run your entire operation. You're not allowed to work there yourself in Costa Rica. Now the one loophole, the one way a lot of expats are able to earn a living here in Costa Rica is to work online or work remotely. So this is what I do, this is what Courtney does. You are allowed to telecommute and work for a company abroad as long as they're paying you from outside of Costa Rica and your income is coming from outside the country. So a lot of expats here in Costa Rica will do that. They'll just work remotely, either keep their job that they had when they were living in the States or in Canada, or maybe they'll move here and then find a remote job in any number of categories, graphic design or coding, whatever the case may be. I teach English online. Courtney does a bunch of jobs. She has an Etsy store. She does administrative work for small businesses. So these are some things to think about before you decide to move to Costa Rica. Figure out, how are you going to work? How are you going to make a living while living here in Costa Rica? So that's it for the first edition of the Hammock Talk. I want to try to make these videos regularly, just answering common questions about Costa Rica. Leave me a comment down below. What question do you have about Costa Rica or life in Costa Rica? And I want to take a question from the comments and answer that for my next video. So be sure to ask a question down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Pura vida.